So autocoids. So what do you mean by the autocoids? Today we are going to see the very interesting topic, that is an autocoid. So what are these autocoids and how these autocoids are working? In what manner these autocoids are working? And everyone, I think, is interested to listen the fact. What is the fact that it is cure without any treatment? Wounds are cure without the treatment. That, let's see what is that. So before that, first one thing that I would like to tell you that regarding the exam point of view, this topic, one point that is called as triple response. This triple response is a very much important thing in respect of the exam point of view. Triple response of the histamine is important, and the second one is in the classification of histamine. So those two these points are the very much interested or very much important for the exam point of view. Now let's see what is this autocoid and how and what manner these autocoids are working. Why we can call as it is an autocoid. So, in our body, number of the other systems are get working. Like one system that we call as some hormones. For proper handling and proper working of our body, hormones plays a very important role. So the hormones, these hormones are the very important thing. So these hormones, when get releases in our body, it does some important function like some metabolism, excretion, as well as some extraction, as well as the development of the some cells, development of some tissues, organs, likewise development of our body. So these are some hormones which plays a very important role, as well as these hormones having a different structural condition, as they have a different chemical structure, but even though they have a different chemical structure, they are very potent. Most important thing is that very potent biological action. That is the most important thing that we have to see. That is, it is necessary that we have to see that that is the most important biological action, potent biological action, and that's why it's needed. These all are needed in our bodies. That's why all are needed in our bodies. So these autocoids are get released or prepared in our own body. It is get prepared in our own body. So what do you mean by this autocoid? Autocoid means a self remedy. Autocoid means self remedy, which is get derived from a Greek word, which is get derived from one Greek word. One is called as atos and another word called as ekos. Ato, that is means self. Ato, that is nothing but self, and ekos means drug. Means what? As we are taking a drug, we are getting relief from some diseases. That we are having a remedy for any disease. A remedy is in a drug. In the same manner, our own body is having some system, and because of that system we can able to handle the things. We can able to recover from some diseases, some conditions. That's why these autocards are having some important role. That's why these autocards are having some important roles. That is a most important thing is that, right? Next point is that these autocoids are there because of their self-regulatory action. Because of their self-regulatory action, they have their system, their own system. So once we have any abnormal condition in our body, it started immediately for treatment, giving a treatment to us. Immediately then. They are not waiting for something that someone will come and someone will give order that go and start. No, it is not like that. It's a self-regulatory action. It's a self-regulatory action. So this one is what? This one is what? It is in a condition. It is in a condition where our own body system is working and our own body system plays an important role. Like unlike other hormones, they are also produced in some tissues, but not by the endocrine glands. Which are these? So examples like histamine, 5-hydroxytryptamine, prostaglandin, bradykinins, as well as the angiotensin. So these are the some other some hormones which are get released in our body, and they play a very important role. Apart, unlike an hormone, these are the some substances which are get released in our body. These are some examples of autocoids. So these autocoids play a very important role. Which are these autocoids? For the exam point of view, this histamine is very important thing for us. This histamine is very important for us. Histamine, 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is also called as serotonin. second one prostaglandin, next one is an bradykinin and angiotensin. So these angiotensin and all these autocoids are required for the self remedy. Now let's see one by one what is this. So this is what first autocoid that we are going to study, that's an histamine. Now what do you mean by this histamine and how it is responsible? This is one of the most important autocoid. So this histamine, again the same thing is that the histamine is get prepared in our body. So this histamine is get prepared from one amino acid that called as a histidine. One amino acid which is get from which it is get prepared is called as a histidine. In presence of definitely one enzyme, that enzyme is called as histidine decarboxylase. So with the help of this enzyme, this amino acid converted to the histamine, and this is the most important and most potent biogenic amine which is get secreted in the body. Where does it found? It found in some places like some tissues. It get found in some tissues, some mast cell, as well as some circulating point that is called as a basophil. That's in a basophil. So this is a mast cell. This is a mast cell. So when these mast cells are get connected with some antigens or some antibodies, then it started to release some histamine bonds. Then they are started to release some histamine bonds. And the interesting thing is that when this histamine is present inside, this is in a sac. This is in a storage depot of histamine. When this histamine is present in this depot, it is in inactive form, and when it started to degranulation or started to releasing, then produces its action. This is one of the very important things. So three places where histamine gets stored, depot, there was tissue, mast cell, as well as some basophils. As well as apart from this histamine is also synthesized in microflora of gastrointestinal tract, GI flora intestine, and this GI flora in GI microflora. However, the most of the histamine is destroyed when it passes for the first pass mechanism, as it is get available, but when it passes through the first pass mechanism, definitely it is get metabolized. The histamine is released from the mast cell or basophils when the substances are get attached or substances are get connect or attack due to some other reason, some antigen or certain drugs, they are started for releasing of the histamine. So this is what this is a mast cell, and this is a histamine, a basophil. This is a basophil. So these are the two important. This is a basophil and this is a mast cell. So these are the two important depots who are present in our body where this histamine is present, and this histamine plays a very important role whenever there is an attack. Whenever there is attack, when someone is get attack on it, it started for releasing. And as well as this histamine is also present in some animal tissues, some venoms of the bees, some webs, as well as in plants also this histamine also get releases. So this is just introduction about the histamine, where histamine is present and how histamine is prepared, stored in our body. Now the most important point comes, that is what is the physiological role of the histamine. Physiological role of the histamine. There is no any specific or precise role of the histamine, but somehow we have some other points like an histamine play important role in release of some gastric acid, increase in the gastric secretion in our GI tract, where also we have an important role. That's why we are going to connect with this all, where it does it mean that, as well as this histamine plays role in transmitting message to the central nervous system. In central nervous system it is there. And most important point here, the come, many of you ask why it is there. So it also play important role in tissue growth and repairment, as well as also plays an important role in antigen antibody reaction. Now what is this tissue growth and repairment? Whenever we have any wound, whenever we have any cut on the skin, and after certain period of time, after certain hours, there we had a feel that there is something itching like area is there, or there we are feeling that there is a itching in that area. We started for itching. So why itching is there? Itching is the most important phenomenon of the histamine. Where histamine is get released, at that time itching is started, whether it is required for physiological or whether it is required for unphysiological. But wherever the histamine is get released, there histamine started for itching something that area. So in wherever we have a cut, wound, at that what is the role of the body? What is the role of the body? That where there is a wound, where is a cutting, at that place we need to give some rejuvenation or supplement of the cell or supply of the cell, formation of the new cell. So in that case we need one precursor, that is a histamine. This histamine, that is, it plays the important role in tissue growth and repairment. Whatever this damage, hurt and scratch is there, that scratch, that damage is get maintained, is managed by the this histamine. And that's why we can say that even though we hadn't take any treatment or any drug, we can easily heal, we can easily repair. Why? Because it is because of the only histamine. That is the most important part of the uh, histamine. That is the most important role of the histamine. One more thing, that here we had seen that the histamine plays an important role in gastric acid secretion. So there are certain drugs like cimetidine, or there are certain antacids which are the H2 blockers, ranitidine, cimetidine. These are the drugs. What is their mechanism? They are H2 blocker. So H2 means, that is related. In next slide we are going to see what is that H2 means. That is the receptor of the histamine. So with the help of this receptor, the histamine started the increase in the secretion of gastric acid. And whenever there is an increase in the secretion of gastric acid, we can say that it's an acidity. So for the treatment of acidity, this is one more thing. Treatment of acidity, this is one more way, one more route that we can block this histamine. As we blocking this histamine, immediately we can control the acidity. Why? Because histamine increases the secretion. So these are the four important physiological roles of histamine. Secretion increases secretion, and if you see that uh, if it increases secretion of gastric acid, then there are certain conditions where we can give a treatment. We will see it later. As well as also it plays the important role in transmission in central nervous system. Already I told you that is a tissue growth and repairment, and very important thing is in antigen antibody reaction, that is nothing but in allergic reaction, it plays a very important role. So these are the points where histamine having a physiological role. Now this next point is that how histamine work. Definitely, as we know, everyone, that every hormone or every whatever the synthesis released in our body, it works through one receptors. Everyone having its own receptors. Like adrenaline, acetylcholine, they have its own receptors. So receptors, histamine are also working through the receptors. So which are these receptors? The receptors like H1 receptor. Here we can say there it's an H1 receptor. So this H1 receptor, where these H1 receptors are present? H1 receptor present in cardiovascular system, in respiratory tract, in gastrointestinal tract, in some nerve endings, as well as in adrenal medulla. So these are the some points where this histamine H1 receptor is present. And due to presence of this H1 receptor, it plays a very important effect. So what is the effect of H1 receptor of histamine? Effect of histamine through H1 receptor on cardiovascular system, that on blood vessels particularly, it decreases peripheral resistance, that is a dilation. In coronary artery, increases contraction. In capillary venules, it increases permeability, that is nothing but the vasodilation. So this is what with about the cardiovascular system. What about the respiratory system? That is the most important thing, as we have to remember this. With respiratory tract system, it has an bronchoconstrictor effect. It has a bronchoconstrictor effect. With gastrointestinal tract, there is a constriction of the smooth muscle. With nerve endings, cutaneous nerve endings, there is some pain and itching. Why we have itching? Why we have itching? Cutaneous, that is related to a skin layer. So why we have itching? Itching, it is because of the H1 receptor. H1 receptor. So there are few conditions There are few conditions where the patient is having itching on a skin, urticaria, that we call as urticaria. So in that condition, we have to block this H1 receptor. Why? Because in cutaneous nerve ending, this H1 receptor is present. This H1 receptor is present. Due to this H1 receptor, this histamine produces itching. So that we have to control. And in last one, about this adrenal medulla, the increases the ephedrine secretion. So this is what about the H1 receptor. Now let's see with the H2 receptor, where these H2 receptor are present. This H2 receptor is also available in cardiovascular system, like in vascular and total peripheral resistance. In cutaneous blood vessel, it produces vasodilation, pulmonary artery vasodilation. In heart, it gives positive inotropic and positive chronotropic. But we are interested in this point, that is in a gastrointestinal tract. Gastrointestinal tract. With oxantic cell, most important thing is that this histamine increases acid as well as the pepsin secretion. Histamine increases acid as well as the pepsin secretion. This is the most important thing. That's why. Now, what we can conclude here? If we want to treat the acidity, what we can do? We just have a good idea that just block this H2 receptor. Why? Why? Because why acidity is there? There is one cause, there is one reason that acidity is because of the increase in a secretion of or increase in activity of the oxalic cell. As we want to control the acidity, what we can do? We just need to control the release of the acid as well as the pepsin. How will you do this? You just block this H2 receptor. So as H2 receptor is not available, histamine will not release it. So that is one more cause. That is one more line of treatment that we can control the acidity. We can control the acidity. So this is what about the receptors. Two receptors are present with histamine. One is called as H1 receptor, another called as H2 receptor. So these two receptors are there, H2 receptor as well as the H1 receptor. So where does it present, why we need, and where we could use for the control? H2 receptor blocking for the antacids, H1 receptor for the urticaria, we can control it for the urticaria. Alright. So this is what about the distribution of receptor through where it produces its action. Now the next point is that its pharmacological action. Where is this histamines having a pharmacological action? This histamine having a pharmacological action particularly on blood vessel, related to blood pressure, triple response. It's the most important thing. This triple response. Triple response is the most important thing that we need to remember. That is a triple response. For the exam point of view, this is the most important triple response. As well as we need to see the effect of histamine on heart as well as the smooth muscle. So, but triple response is the one of the very important thing that we need to be remember is. So, in that manner, we can give a treatment for the. We can give a treatment for the triple response. We are going to see what is that triple response and all the things. Right. Now, the next one is that blood vessel. So, let's see what is the effect of this histamine on blood vessel. Very easy and very simple thing is that it produces constriction of the pupil. It produces constriction of the blood vessel. It produces constriction of the blood vessel. As compared to the other animals, it produces its constriction of the blood vessel. So as well as it also has some very important effect, like it produces dilation of pulmonary vessels. One of the very important things, pulmonary related to the lung. It produces dilation of pulmonary blood vessels. Second thing is stretching of nerve endings around the cranial vessels. It produces stretching of nerves around the cranial vessels. Third one, it increases cerebrospinal fluid pressure and producing throbbing headache. It produces throbbing headache. Why the patient is having throbbing headache? You might have seen that whenever you have a very high or very severe cough. In that case, you might having an headache which is holding, it is catching and it is hold like this, and because of that the patient is unable to concentrate on his work. He is unable to see or he is unable to concentrate on his work. Why? Because of this thrombing headache. Next one, this dilation of venules and capillary produces decreasing total peripheral resistance of the blood pressure. Decreasing the total peripheral blood vessels. That blood vessel, if we reduces the resistance of this blood vessel, then definitely that is nothing but we are having low blood pressure. Why? Blood pressure, the pressure exerted by blood on the walls of the blood vessel is called as the blood pressure. Now what happens here? The blood vessels are get totally dilated, and because of the dilatation, resistance is getting increased. So this is what about the histamine's effect on blood vessel. And most last very important thing is that in large doses, it increases the capillary permeability, decreases the blood volume, and produces flushing. Redness and pain is there. Flushing of the skin in the neck and face region. In that area, it has. Now, you might thinking about when it will be happen, why this happen, and when it will be happen. It will happen when there is some attack of a drug on a mast cell, that we call as a drug interaction. Due to some drug interaction, there is a possibility of releasing of histamine in huge quantity, in huge number volume, and due to increase in huge number, huge quantity, or huge volume, it may produce such type of effect, and the patient is having a very severe effect. Patient is having very severe effect. So this is what about the blood vessels. Now next one is that related to blood pressure. As we had seen, there is an histamine produces dilation of blood vessels, so there is an decrease in the peripheral resistance, so there is a prolonged hypotension, and if it is not controlled and if it is not corrected, then the patient may give maybe death because of the shock. So that is a possibility, that's why we can need to control. Now histamine induces hypotension can be prevented by use of uh, can be prevented but not reversed by the any antihistaminic drug. That is the one thing, and it can be reversed by adrenaline like action. Now most important thing about chapter is triple response. Now what do you mean by this triple response? Triple means there are three responses are there. Triple means three responses are there. What are these three responses that we are going to see? That first one is called as flush. What do you mean by flush? Flush means a dilation of capillary at the site of injection, and this area become red. When we are administering, this histamine, some quantity of histamine by intradermally, we put histamine, some quantity of histamine in intradermally, and when we put this intradermally, it gives some three responses. That three responses are called as a triple response. In that first one is a flush. When we administer this histamine, it produces dilation of the capillary, and because of the dilation of capillary, that particular area becomes red, that we call as a flush. Second one is bright flare. Now flare means that is a little bit flushing and shining. Likewise, the flush formation is followed by formation of bright flare beyond that flush, and it is an irregular shape and irregular reaction produced as an urticaria. It's an itching, redness, all these parts are get started. And last one is the area where we have administered this histamine in near about 10 minutes, it started for development of edema, that called as a localized edema, due to the increase in permeability of capillaries of a blood. Increase in permeability means that the contents of the blood contains, particularly water comes out from the blood vessel. Permeability, there is the exchange of water as well as some nutrition, so that water comes out from blood vessels, and because of the water comes out from the blood vessel, there is a edema, there is the inflammation, and this inflammation is only because of the change in the permeability, and this edema formation is also called as a well formation. Well, that is nothing but one circle. If you see, that is a histamine triple response method or triple response example is that when we have a mosquito bite, when we have a mosquito bite, the process that we observe, these are all the things. First flush, then bright flare, and then edema. So mosquito bite is a best example for the triple response. So instead of that mosquito, we can put histamine directly in that particular area, and because of that, we have an effect. That effect we call as a triple response method. That we call as a triple response method. This is the most important thing, and this exam point of view, this is a one of the very important thing, that is a triple response method. Next one is that effect of histamine on heart, particularly it increases the heart rate as well as the contractility, and also interfere with the areoventricular conduction, and at high doses it produces ventricular arrhythmia. It produces ventricular arrhythmia. With respect to the smooth muscle, there are number of organs present in our body which are made up of within a smooth muscle, particularly FEC, that is lungs, that is bronchi, as well as some other smooth muscles which are very much sensitive to the histamine, and due to that it produces constriction of this smooth muscle. And if you see particularly the bronchial muscle, it produces bronchoconstriction. And this is one of the very important thing. Yeah? Histamine induced bronchospasm can easily relieved by administration of adrenaline or isoprenaline or aminophylline, but not by atropine and other antihistaminic drugs. This is the most important thing. Histamine, when histamine induced bronchospasm, constriction of the bronchioles, then at that time we should prefer the sympathomimetic drugs like adrenaline, isoprenaline, as well as some aminophylline. But we can't use some drug like an antihistamines or atropine, like that is the anticholinergic drug. That is one of the very important thing. Many times in exam we could ask the drug of choice. So in that case we should know that what is a bronchospasm. We should have a drug of choice like an adrenaline or isoprenaline. So with exocrine glands, then smaller dose it stimulates the gastric acid secretion. In smaller dose that we can see here or here, there are some gastric acid secretion. Gastric acid secretion is there, and in larger dose it increases the pepsin secretion also. It increases the pepsin secretion. Hence, hence that I just told you in earlier slide that we can use it for some diagnosis purpose. Hence, it is useful for, or hence it has a property for increase in secretion. Hence, it has a property for increase in secretion that we could use for diagnosis of achlorhydria or in pernicious anemia. Achlorhydria or pernicious anemia. What happened in achlorhydria, that we can see here, that is quantity of acid is very much less. The quantity of hydrochloric acid is very much less, or it is near about absent. It is near about negligible absent. That is the most important thing that we call as an achlorhydria. And due to this achlorhydria, whatever the precursor is required, that precursor is not prepared, and that vitamin B12 formation, and due to the with the help of vitamin B12 and all these things are not available properly, so the patient is having a pernicious anemia. There is a deficiency of vitamin B12. That is here the most important role of the stomach cell wall, stomach cell, so which plays the important role in formation of some precursor, and which helpful for this, which are helpful for preventing of the anemia. But due to this lack, it has a pernicious anemia. Then what are its side effects? That already we had discussed. May due to the dilation, it produces hypotension. It is a thumbing, headache. There might be a flushing, dyspnea, diarrhea, and where it has a clinical application, it has a very less minor applications like diagnosis of only hypo or achlorhydria, quantity release in or decrease in quantity, that called as hypo or achlorhydria. Now, what is the solution for that? Solution is antihistamine. So what are these antihistamine? These are the competitive blockers of histamine receptors. and they prevent the most important effect of the histamine on our body. Then how does they are classified? They are classified in two major roles. Two receptors are there, two important class. One is H1 blocker, H1 antihistamine, another is H2 antihistamine. But when we have an H1 as an antihistamine, it has a bifurcated in subparts. First is potent H1 antihistamine with sedative effects. Already we know. Whenever we have a sneezing, whenever we have a cough, at that time we are using some anti-cold drug, antihistaminic drug. So whenever we are using anti-cold, antihistaminic drug, at that time what happens? At that time we are facing that we are claiming that the patient is having some sedation effect. The patient is having sedation effect. So these are the class of drugs. The drug of some drugs like diphenhydramine. These are the drugs which are having. They are a potent H1 blocker, but they are sedative in action. They have sedative action. Second one is they are potent H1 blocker but have a less sedative in action. For example, chlorpheniramine. They are example chlorpheniramine. Third one is they are less potent in action as well as less sedative in action. Example is mipramine, mipyramine. Fourth one, they are non-sedating as well as H1 antihistamine. Example is cetirizine. Cetirizine. Cetirizine is one of the very popular molecule which could be used nowadays as an antihistamine. Even though we have an urticaria, even though we have an urticaria, at that time we can use H1 blocker as an cetirizine. Mast 1, cetirizine, Cetizid, Alarid. These are some brand names which are available in the market with the cetirizine, which are used for blocking this H1 blocker, that is an histamine. And this is the one class that is called as H1 antihistaminic blocker, and second one is called as an H2, that is an H2 blocker, H2 antihistaminic drugs. The example are cimetidine, ranitidine, and famotidine. You know it all examples. Cimetidine, ranitidine, Rantac, very famous, brand. Rantac 150, Rantac 300. So all these are the what? All these are the antacids. Why they are used as antacid? Because they act through the H2 blocker. They are act through the histamine H2 blocker, which are present in gastrointestinal cells, H2 homoxantic cell. Correct. So this is a class of antihistamine drug. So till now for today only we can stay here, or we can stop our today's session, because whatever the things are there, that should we could recall it, remember it. Next one that we will see on next lecture, or I may be prepared a video and I will post it on a YouTube. So the thing is that what we had seen today's lecture, we had seen that is what do you mean by atocoid? Atocoid meaning is self remedy. Ato, that is a self cause, that is nothing but drug, that is atocoids. What are the different atocoids? Histamine, 5-hydroxytryptamine, bradykinin, angiotensin. These are the some atocoids which are get released in our body. Then physiological function of atocoid that we had seen, that is the first one is that formation or growth of the cell as well as the secretion of gastric acid secretion, transmitting some central nervous system. These are the functions. These are the functions. These are the physiological role of this atocoids. Particularly histamine that we had seen. Then where is histamine? Histamine is get prepared from amino acid called as histidine, and then we had seen that as what is the antihistaminic drug. How these antihistaminic drugs are get classified depending upon two parameters, H1 blocker and H2 blocker. These H1 blocker, H2 blocker, H2, H1 blocker again bifurcated in subclass depending upon its potency and drowsiness. Potency and drowsiness. First, high potent, less drowsiness. Less potent, high drowsiness. Less potent, less drowsiness. And last one is no sedation and high potency. So likewise they are get classified. So according to that, it is get classified. And second class, that is an H2 antihistaminic blocker, which are used for treatment of this acidity, particularly acidity. So here we are now closing our today's lecture. Thank you very much. If anything is there, just put a message so I could reply you for your queries.